Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome all of you to the Lightning Flash Update. It is September 8th, 2017, and let me tell you, I can honestly say I've been in college for 3 days, and I'm already wishing it was still summer. The work that they give in college, I know a lot of people are probably going to be telling me, yeah, you should have expected it, but it really is insane. Really is insane, especially for the first 3 days. But anyway, we're here to talk about college work. You already know who I am. I'm Mr. Controversy, the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. And I do not have a lot of news, rumors, and reports, but rather I have a lot to talk about concerning the weekly shows. And we're going to jump right into that. So, Raw started off with John Cena defeating Jason Jordan in which was a phenomenal match, the best that Jason Jordan's had in his career thus far. It was a real eye-opener, and I believe that if Jason Jordan continues to have matches with the likes of John Cena and bigger names in the WWE, especially on Raw, he will be a very successful superstar. Roman Reigns then came out after the match, called Cena a liar, asking, well, how come it takes 20 minutes for you to beat a rookie, just a fake-ass bitch? Cena then said, you came out with your zipper undone. Roman Reigns said, nah, I'm just busting it out. I'm the big dog. Cena, then he stated he has no respect for Roman Reigns. Roman gave him a clear-cut opportunity to punch him right in the mouth. He didn't do it. Roman says Cena's all talk and he doesn't respect him. The build for Roman Reigns and John Cena has been phenomenal thus far, and I cannot wait to see how things go down at No Mercy. Speaking of No Mercy is looking quite stacked, and I'm going to go over the matches that were announced on Monday as well. After that, Cesaro and Sheamus defeated Heath Slater and Rhino. This was the quick rebound match from Sheamus losing to Dean Ambrose last week on Monday Night Raw. And, I gotta say, this was actually the first Raw where I generally cared about everything. Everything flowed very nicely on Monday Night Raw. After Cesaro and Sheamus defeated Slater and Rhino, it was confirmed that they will have their rematch against Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose for the Raw Tag Team titles at No Mercy at the end of the month. The Miz then defeated Jeff Hardy in the Intercontinental Championship match. This was a very good match. I enjoyed this match a lot. Both men had fair amounts of offense. And I was really pulling for Jeff Hardy. You already know how I feel about The Miz. Miz hasn't really done anything with the Intercontinental Championship since he's been on Monday Night Raw. So I was really hoping that Jeff Hardy would have won the championship to give it that that sense of freshness. Because the Intercontinental Championship has been very stale as of lately. It's been very stale, and there's really been nobody other than The Miz back at the end of 2016 that's been able to really open people's eyes to how prestigious the Intercontinental Championship really is. But this was not the same Miz that we saw at the end of 2016 in perhaps one of the greatest feuds of the last decade with Dolph Ziggler. Later on in the night, Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss was announced for the Raw Women's Championship at No Mercy, but there was a catch. There was a confrontation backstage between Kurt Angle, Emma, and Nia Jax. They both presented cases to Angle in which why they should be vying for the Raw Women's Championship. This resulted in a tag team match between Emma, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, and Sasha Banks being made. And if Emma and Nia Jax won, then the match would become a fatal four-way. Before the women's tag team match, or actually 2 segments before the women's tag team match, Enzo Amore, Cedric Alexander, and Gran Metalik defeated Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Noam Dar, in which was a decent match. Enzo Amore won with the Jodunzo. He's fighting smart, as he keeps on saying. He's mimicking Eddie Guerrero better than Sasha Banks ever could. Yes, I said that. Enzo won with the Jodunzo. And later on in the night, it was made for 205 Live that it would be a fatal five-way match consisting of the Brian Kendrick, Tony Nese, Grand Metalik, Cedric Alexander, and Enzo Amore, where the winner would face Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship and No Mercy. Now, before the women's tag team match, Finn Balor addressed Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt stated how, as a child, he used to hunt down rabbits with his bow and arrow. But then he wanted to make things a little more challenging, so he dropped the weapon and used his bare hands. He stated that Finn Balor did not beat Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam, but the Demon did. So Bray Wyatt offered the challenge to Finn Balor, face me man to man, drop your weapon, that is the Demon, and we'll see who is the better man. The challenge was accepted. It is Balor and Wyatt for, I believe, the third and final time. They are 1-1 so far. We're going to get the rubber match at No Mercy. Emma and Nia Jax defeated Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks, thus making the Women's Championship a fatal four-way match. I was very pleased with that. I'm very much looking forward to... Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm very much looking forward to how they book that match, because I believe that with the right booking, the winner of that match could very well come out of No Mercy looking like one of the strongest women on the Monday Night Raw roster. After that, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins then defeated the Club, and the Club then was taken out by Cesaro. This is all leading up to the tag team title rematch at No Mercy. We all know this. And then in the main event, Braun Strowman defeated the Big Show in a steel cage match. And in the end, Strowman slammed Big Show right through the cage. And Big Show, I gotta give props to the Big Show. And I do have some news on the Big Show's big elbow drop from the cage. I thought this was a fantastic spot, and props to Big Show for taking that spot considering his age. Overall, Raw was a very good show. Hell of a lot better than SmackDown. And we're going to get into SmackDown right now. SmackDown started off with Carmella and James Ellsworth being interrupted by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens wanted to be the ref for the match. Shane came out. He stated that Kevin Owens is going bonkers. He stated he's being completely ridiculous. And he needs to get over the fact that he has failed to reclaim the United States Championship. Kevin Owens then started taking shots at Shane's family, calling him an embarrassment to his father, his wife, and his kids. And after Kevin Owens mentioned Shane's kids, Shane McMahon unloaded with rapid-fire punches to Kevin Owens. He beat him down, threw him over the announce table, and in the end, after the commercial break, Daniel Bryan had to get Shane McMahon off of Kevin Owens. Daniel Bryan then approached Kevin Owens after the whole incident took place. Owens then threatened to take WWE down. This is all leading up to that Hell in a Cell match between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon, or possibly the Survivor Series match. Later on, then, the women's champion, Natalya, defeated Carmella. It was a decent match, but there was nothing really new here. This is the second time that Carmella has faced one of the SmackDown Women's Champions. This time, Natalya came out victorious, whereas the last time Carmella beat Naomi. This all leading up to Natalya and Naomi's rematch for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship next week in Sin City SmackDown. This then led to Carmella dumping James Ellsworth and seemingly getting back together with him later on in the show. Which there's no need to go over that. It's completely meaningless. And the next two segments that happened in the show, I want to take a moment here and I'm going to lump them into one, because I'm going to do something that I do not normally do here on this YouTube channel. Normally I come on YouTube and I shout out at Slice Wrestling during the news, rumors, and reports section of the video. By the way, follow him at Slice Wrestling. He is fantastic in providing the latest on news, rumors, and reports via Twitter. But this time I'm going to shout out JD from New York. If you guys do not follow him on Twitter and Instagram at JD from NY206. Follow him, or excuse me, pledge to him on Patreon and subscribe to him on YouTube. The guy's a fucking beast in everything that he does. He is a big inspiration in what I do here on Twitter. JD, this one is for you, and I hope you're watching. So, Dolph Ziggler re-debuted, and he acted like Cena, he acted like Randy Savage, and then he acted like Naomi, and then he stated that people make me sick. I looked at JD's Twitter and he tweeted, and I quote, "This is WWE embarrassing Dolph Ziggler. This isn't even funny. If this doesn't show they don't care, nothing will. What a waste. Hashtag SD Live." And then afterwards, Aiden English defeated Sami Zayn again in atrocious fashion. Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And he tweeted, and I quote, "Sami Zayn is as good as dead on hashtag SD Live. Move him back down to NXT. Another fucking waste of talent." And I'm reading those two tweets, and I really thought about it, and it really is frightening when you think about it, how guys like JD and Solomonster and all these other YouTubers that really dissect and analyze what WWE is doing with certain types of talent, and then they come to a conclusion and they voice their conclusions on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. And it's really frightening how accurate those statements really are. It's really frightening that guys like JD and Solomonster, who have had no affiliation with the WWE whatsoever, they had no affiliation with the WWE before they started YouTube. They never worked for the company. They don't know anybody personally in the company. But it's scary how accurate they depict the backstage politics of the company better than the WWE actually does. I'm sitting there and I'm mesmerized by this. I'm shocked at how accurate it really is. But anyway, JD, that one was for you, and I hope you're watching. After that, the Usos then announced that the tag team title rematch next week for Sin City SmackDown will be a street fight. And then immediately following that, Bryan asked Shane what was he thinking when he decided to punch Kevin Owens repeatedly. Daniel Bryan then got a call from Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon has been indefinitely suspended. Excuse me again. Then later, Baron Corbin then defeated Ty Dillinger. It was a decent match, but it really didn't do anything. The best part about this is what happened after the match. When Ty Dillinger was backstage, AJ Styles came up to him and said, "Baron Corbin's nothing but a cheap shot artist. Next week, the US Open Challenge is only open to one person, and that's you." So now we got Styles and Dillinger, and Styles said, and I quote, "We're going to have the match that the WWE Universe wants." I am very, 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 very glad that they decided to go with this decision. U.S. title match between Dillinger and Styles next week. It's going to be good. And then finally in the main event, Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Randy Orton. And this was the only other thing besides the opening segment on SmackDown Live that was worth watching. This match was fantastic. Nakamura and Orton really gelled together. And I would love to see a rematch between the two in the future. That match is actually WrestleMania worthy. I would love to have seen that match at SummerSlam. But Nakamura defeated Randy Orton. There was one portion where Nakamura countered the RKO into an armbar, reversed it into the triangle. Orton picked him up and one-arm powerbombed him, went for the RKO, was caught, I believe, was caught with either a knee. I think he was either caught with like a knee or a one-knee backbreaker. And then Nakamura hit the Kinshasa for the win. And before the show even went off the air, Daniel Bryan came up to Kevin Owens. He said, "Vince McMahon is coming to SmackDown Live to handle the controversial argument and issue between Shane and Owens." So next week should be good. We got 3 title matches, and Vince McMahon's coming back. Hopefully they can revive SmackDown Live. But moving on to 205 Live, I will say it again until I'm blue in the face, till I'm blue as this DIY shirt. 205 Live is leagues better than SmackDown Live. Anyone who says it's boring hasn't watched the product. 205 Live, fantastic show. And I'm going to say it again, 205 Live should be the 2-hour show. SmackDown Live should be the 1-hour show. Show was fantastic. TJP defeated Arya Daivari. I was expecting TJP to get the win, considering that he came back from his supposed knee injury. Rich Swann then came out with popcorn to observe, and the rubber match was made for next week. I enjoyed the first 2 matches between TJP and Rich Swann, and I have a feeling that I am going to enjoy the 3rd one the most. Who's going to win this little friendly rivalry? We're going to find out next week. Akira Tozawa then defeated Drew Gulak. He rebounded from his Cruiserweight Championship loss to Neville at SummerSlam and on the 205 Live following SummerSlam. And I believe I tweeted this tweet somewhere along the lines of, does anyone else notice that 205 Live has a bit more of a competitive nature? A bit more of a competitive nature than SmackDown Live? And it really showed in this match. These two actually did a very good job. They put on a decent show. And Akira Tozawa got the victory over Drew Gulak. Akira Tozawa got his rebound win. Looking forward to see what they're going to do with him in the future. And then, this I knew it was going to be match of the week. This match was a phenomenal match in every sense of the word. Enzo Amore won the Fatal 5-Way, defeating the Brian Kendrick, Cedric Alexander, Gran Metalik, and Tony Nese. There were a lot of fantastic spots in this match. Started with Enzo Amore getting suplexed from the ring to the floor. Then, Enzo started to make a scrappy comeback against Nese and Kendrick. That resulted in a double super kick to Amore. And then from off screen, you see Gran Metalik and Cedric Alexander do double springboard attacks. Metalik with the springboard drop kick, Alexander with the springboard clothesline, and then Metalik with a thunderous super kick to Alexander. Metalik rebounded off the ropes, got caught in a fall-away moonsault slam for a "This is awesome" chant. I was enjoying that match. And then came the spot of the night. So, Cedric Alexander's on the post, and the Brian Kendrick and Tony Nese are setting up Alexander for a double superplex. Metalik, like the insane cruiserweight that he is, he went up on the top rope, he went over Alexander, and hit a double sunset flip powerbomb to Tony Nese and the Brian Kendrick, and Cedric Alexander followed with the superplex. A double superplex sunset flip powerbomb. Fantastic. That got a holy shit chant. Then, Morai tried for the suicide dive. Kendrick and Nese caught him, sent him over the table. Gran Metalik with the Tope Con Hero to Kendrick. And then Tony Nese. Did I say Tony Nese or Gran Metalik? No, I said Gran Metalik with the Tope Con Hero to the Brian Kendrick. And then Tony Nese with a thunderous back elbow to Gran Metalik. And then from there on, it was lumbar check city. Cedric Alexander was made to look like a beast in the match, eliminating Tony Nese, Gran Metalik, and the Brian Kendrick. And then in the end, Enzo Amore doing his smart fighting with a roll-up with the tights. And Amore's going to no mercy. I don't think that Enzo's going to win the Cruiserweight title. I think they're going to build Alexander back up because of the fact that he feels he got screwed. He might turn heel, or he might come back even stronger and face Neville possibly at TLC and come out victorious. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Alexander. Good, very good show nonetheless. Next, on to NXT. NXT started off with Andrade Cien Almas defeating Cesar Bononi, like I knew he would. Almas still riding that wave of momentum along with Zelina Vega. Lars Sullivan then won the handicap match. No Way Jose then came out. He got a few punches in on Lars Sullivan, and then Sullivan destroyed him afterwards. Eric Young and Sanity sent a message to the Ring of Honor stable saying you should not have done what you did. Looking to see how sanity plays a factor in this Ring of Honor stable storyline along with Drew McIntyre. One thing that I would really like to see, possibly not an NXT TakeOver Houston, but an NXT TakeOver Philly or NXT TakeOver New Orleans, I would very much like to see Drew McIntyre and Sanity versus the Ring of Honor stable for the NXT and the NXT Tag Team titles. First time in NXT history you could do something like that. Winner take all. I think that would be fantastic. Later on, Ruby Riott was shown asking William Regal for a handicap match with Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. William Regal said no, but if Ruby Riott can find a partner, they will have a tag team match next week. Cassius Ohno then defeated Hideo Itami in a no disqualification match. Match was very good. It involved a steel chair. It involved the steel steps. It involved Hideo Itami suplexing Cassius Ohno on the ramp. And then when Hideo Itami went for the low blow, Cassius Ohno hit a low blow on Hideo, a little bit of redemption, and hit that rolling elbow. The knockout artist strikes again, and he defeats Hideo Itami. I don't think this rivalry is over. Rivalry's not over by a long shot. We still got plenty more to come in this rivalry. And then, finally, in the final segment, Asuka relinquished the NXT Women's Championship. I am very proud of Asuka. I am very proud to have first seen her back down in October of 2015 when NXT was still in a developmentary stage. And then finally, Asuka, she ascended to the throne of becoming NXT Women's Champion, held that title for 523 days. I am very interested to see where Asuka goes and what they have planned for Asuka in the future. Good luck, Asuka, and thank you once again. Now it's time for the news, rumors, and reports section. We're going to start off this news, rumors, and reports section with a report from @SliceWrestling. You already know, follow him @SliceWrestling. He came out with two reports. One of them, considering of Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. He stated that WWE has discussed Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler to take place shortly, which I am assuming is going to take place at Hell in a Cell. And then Dolph Ziggler is going to leave WWE afterwards. He also reported that WWE is discussing a way for Brock Lesnar to keep his Universal Championship at No Mercy, but also not pin Braun Strowman clean. Could we see a disqualification or a double countout that could lead to a rematch at Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble? We're going to have to wait and see. I got multiple reports from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and I'm going to go with the most controversial one. And this is not really so much a report. Mainly, it would be a huge mistake if it is to happen. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that John Cena is leaving WWE for 2 months after No Mercy to film Bumblebee, the Transformers spin-off movie. When he comes back, the plan is for Cena to feud with Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship. This may indicate that Nakamura will not win the title at Hell in a Cell. This would be a huge mistake, considering that Nakamura, he needs to win that title. Because like I said, if all roads do not lead to AJ versus Nakamura for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, I am going to lose my shit. WWE cannot pass this up. They made the mistake of not giving the title to Nakamura at SummerSlam. What now? You're going to have Mahal beat him again at Hell in a Cell? Do you realize, that this is a really scary fact? I stated something about how JD and Solomonster are incredibly accurate with their descriptions of the product. But do you realize that if Jinder Mahal holds the WWE Championship past Hell in a Cell, his reign will be longer than AJ Styles? Do you see something that is wrong with that picture? I like Mahal, but like I stated before, there is only so far you can go with a guy like Jinder Mahal. And plus, I would not like to see John Cena as WWE Champion again. I really don't want to see him break the record. I don't know what it is about John Cena, but John Cena just isn't really believable. He's not a believable person to make me feel like he really deserves to break Ric Flair's record. Because at the end of the day, he is still John Cena. He is still one of the people that has direct voice to Vince McMahon at the end of the day. If anything, I would have someone like a Rollins, a Bobby Roode, even an AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, all these other guys. All these other guys with so much talent, and you can't give them the legendary statistic of beating Ric Flair's record. Doesn't really make any sense. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter as well, Big Show was written off of TV because he needs hip surgery. He was a little hesitant to do the elbow drop off the top rope in fear of injuring himself even more, but it is unknown if he will retire or not. I think he says he plans to retire next year. I actually got a report from GFW, and as most of you know, Jeff Jarrett confirmed that on Tuesday he would step down as Chief Creative Officer of Global Force Wrestling, but remain on a consultative basis as needed. I've been being told by the sources that the reason why Jeff Jarrett dropped out of his position as Chief Creative Officer was because of personal reasons. However, I'm not really going to go into that because that is his business to handle. And then finally, another report, and my final report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, comes from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Sami Callihan, a.k.a. Solomon Crowe, as he was known on NXT, is scheduled to debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling before the end of the year. This should be very interesting. We could see many interesting matches like Solomon Crowe and Kenny Omega, Solomon Crowe and Kazuchika Okada, Solomon Crowe and one of the Young Bucks. It's gonna be good. I have a feeling that Sami Callihan's going to favor very, very well in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every one of you who tuned in to watch this live. Follow me on Instagram at DDog316. Follow me on Twitter at #1 WWE fan. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Give that bell a meet in the middle. I know DIY, they're not a team anymore, but still, you got to give that that bell a meet in the middle. Sorry, I'm thinking about Kairi Sane's elbow drop in the Mae Young Classic. By the way, Kairi Sane and Toni Storm, I believe, had a semifinal match in the Mae Young Classic. I think I'm going to go back and watch that before I go to work later. And anyway, guys, thank you guys so much once again. I'm the one and only DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. You have a great day and an even greater weekend.